Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today, taking a peek at Bitcoin. Oh my goodness, we had a beautiful breakout yesterday and last night and even today. So, looks really, really good. We are now getting in officially into retracement levels, and this is where the danger starts to set in. But yeah, if you look here, we take a Fibonacci retracement and we pull it all the way down. We have officially tagged the 50% Fibonacci area. So that's like the goal. We're entering the golden zone, right? 618, 50% is the golden zone where a lot of decisions are made. Um, so, yeah, it looks really good. So, basically, just to start out with this video, I really want to take a moment and discuss. If you look at the bottom of your screen, this is 2023. Where is it at? Right there. And here is 2024. Right. We'll just put it right there. So, from January 2023, the start of the year, till today, we have been going up. So from the beginning of the year, we have been in an uptrend. Okay, everybody gets it, right? So my point here is, what have we been fed over the last year? Bearishness. We're going down, right? It just never ended. We had bearish news after bearish news after bearish news. People saying we're going to 10K, we're going to 9K, we're going to, 12K, we're going down to 14K. This is not going to happen, right? This is what happened. And even when we pumped up here, it's just a dead cat bounce. And then when we crash, yep, we're going to 10K. We pumped up again. Oh, it's just another dead cat bounce. We're going down, right? And then this was the big one right here. When we pumped out and it was a fake breakout, we pulled back down. In this crash right here, everybody said, okay, it's over. It's over. Well, not everybody, but I would say the consensus across the board was bearish, right? At least the people I'm watching, people I'm looking at, a handful of people were bullish, right? So for me, I'm usually bullish because I'm a hodler, right? When you look at the macro view, I would suggest, I would think most of us are bullish, right? Otherwise, why would you hold? So, I had my doubts when we were coming up here, but I remember this is a clear five-way move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we had a sideways base, right? If you have 5 waves to the downside, then a sideways base, that is your signal to go long, right? When we broke above here, this was the point to go long right here. So for example, when the price broke below here, I was expecting, right, for price to come up and back test and then continue lower. But we never got the back test. Instead, we broke above it. When we broke above, that was when that was the signal to go long, right? And so basically, that's what happened. This whole entire year, we've been going higher. So this is a very good sign. So now what? What can we expect now? Well, to me, this is either an A, B, C, right? And now we're in a 1, 2, and now we're in the third wave, right? Or This is an A. Now we're in B, about to get C. So there's a couple different ways you can look at it. But anyways, I just want to take everything off the screen and start out by saying, again, I'm not going to mention any names, but you know who they are, the bears, right? They were saying, why buy, don't buy Bitcoin, don't buy Bitcoin, don't buy Bitcoin. Even when we got up here, they're saying, it just like, when does it end, right? And that's usually the psychological implications of what happens, right? When we break above this zone, the retracement areas, right? That's when they pile in, right? When we get into this zone here. So when price moves up, they're bears, right? This whole time. Remember, this was the FTX collapse down in here. So we kept getting bad news, right? And that's what made me bullish. I was buying and buying and buying. But for my trades, I was not long. I was waiting for confirmation. That's different. 90% of what I do is hodl. 10% is trading. So when we were in here, I remember buying. When we dumped down here, I remember buying, right? Not Bitcoin, a little bit of Bitcoin, but mostly altcoins. But anyways, for my trades, I was looking for a setup. And when we broke out, that was a good long. And when we back tested, that was a better long, right? And then when we got up in here, I go, okay, this is a rise, this is a falling wedge, we're going to break out. I was expecting this wave to go higher. But when it started to curl down and dump, I looked at it as Wyckoff accumulation. Basically, we were creating this spring here. A lot of people were saying this is distribution, right? And this is the spring for, if you flip it upside down, this is the opposite of what a spring would be, and now we're going to dump. So basically, everybody wasn't buying, right? I mean, you can't say everybody, but the consensus was that's how usually it works, right? The price creeps up and creeps up. People are fed a narrative, and then they disbelieve, right? It's disbelief. They don't believe it, and they don't buy. And then when we get in this zone, then they go, okay, now I'm convinced we're in a bull market. But then what happens? What happens when we get to the zone? A, B, we get up into the zone, right? The B wave. The B wave is usually the trickiest wave. It's the wave that screws everybody up, right? So if this is an A and this is a B, right? We come up here in the B wave, and then when we get up into here, now everybody's like, okay, now I'm bullish, now I'm going to buy. And then what happens? We go down. And then the process starts all over again. So it's just, take a moment and just realize, from a psychological perspective, you got to understand the emotional values of the market. It's all everybody knows is fear and greed. But it's more than that. It's narrative. It's news driven. It's sentiment, right? It's how people feel. And how did you feel over the last year? Because for me, I was bullish. As soon as we broke this line here, I was bullish for a retracement. Because number one, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had divergence from the 4th to the 5th. We broke the resistance. And then we came down and we back tested it. That was your cue right there. Go long, right? So basically, a lot of people are going to be wrong-footed. Because, for example, if you go to Google right now and type in Bitcoin, you're going to see Bitcoin hits 40K, is all-time high positive. All the euphoria, the sentiment is rushing back. And what could happen is people can go and FOMO. And when we FOMO, we get that final push. But then usually what happens is people over leverage, right? They get over leveraged in here. And because they're convinced now, right? They weren't convinced down here or over here. They weren't convinced anywhere in here. But now when you get way up here, now they're convinced. And now they go leverage, and then what happens? It dumps. So I'm not saying it's going to dump. We barely entered the retracement area. My area to watch is this line right there. And right there. So if we can break those two lines, then we have a good shot at breaking new all-time highs. Right? So that would be the final line in the sand for me, that we're going into a new all-time high, which would be about 60K. But for now, we're just going to focus on this line right here. Usually what happens is you go into a bear market. This is wave 1. This is wave 2. So this is wave 2 right here. The end of wave 2. 1, 2. So you mark it right here. This is wave 2. Usually what happens is, right, price comes down, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And then now we have 1, 2, 3. No, wait. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's 5 waves. 1, 2, 3. That's B, or wave 2. And now we have another 5 waves to the upside. So the question is, does the 5 waves break this? And usually market makers like to break liquidity. They really like to do that. They like to take it and break this line. So for example, I go back to the guy who has $10 million. If you have $10 million, you can't just buy here or here or here or wherever you want. You have to wait until you break liquidity. So this right here is strong resistance. If price comes up and breaks it, right, not in a straight line, right, we can pull back and then come up. If we break it, that's usually when the market makers go short, because then there's an influx of liquidity that allows them to fill their position, and then it comes down. It'll be a false breakout, right? So look out for that. So basically, we have 2 options here. Number 1, let me do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's wave A. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. And now we need to figure out, let me actually mark this so people can see. Whoops. A, and then all this would be B, and then we come down for C. Now this is one count. This is the bearish count, right? So basically, to go back to what I was saying, when we were down here, people were calling for 9, 10K, and yes, that's true. But first, like, we always need a retracement. Anytime you have a big move to the downside, right? Let me zoom out. Anytime you have a big move to the downside, right? It's going down, 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 down. It doesn't just keep going down, 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 right? It doesn't happen that way. Nothing goes down in a straight line, right? So when price goes all the way down, then it needs to come all the way up so that it can come back down. It moves in waves like this, right? So anytime you have 5 waves to the downside, you have divergence between the 4th and the 5th, and then you have a break of the previous degree, right, which would be the fourth wave. If you break the fourth wave, in which case that would be 18.4K, right? 18.4, 18,400. That was your cue to say, okay, we are confirming a retracement here. So the question is, right, and then let me just label these here. That would be A, B, C. Change that to... So, yeah, the question is, are we doing this, or are we going to break new all-time high? But first, we have to treat it like this is what's happening. So let's zoom in here, 8-hour chart. Let's see if we have 5 waves. So right off the bat, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, which is very bullish. Then we have, it gets confusing in here, right? So I would say this would be 3, 4, 5. So then I would say, okay, this whole thing is 1, 2. All of this is 3. We're going to get a 4, 5. And then potentially another 4, 5. Right? Because if you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? This was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. A 4, 5, 4, 5 comes after a 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's a couple different ways you can count it. But if I had to guess, it would be something like this. Now the question becomes then, is this current wave finished right in here? And that we really don't know, right? We have to wait and see. If we zoom in even closer, and I don't really like zooming in closer, but if we do, what do we see? Well, right off the bat, I see a beautiful ascending triangle, and we were tracking this in the previous video. Beautiful ascending triangle, and the measured move from this triangle already got surpassed big time. So if I take this right there, and there's your measured move. So basically it's saying, okay, we're done. And it actually overshot a little bit. If I actually take this up to here, and I put this right there, it actually nailed it. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Perfect precision right there, right? So yeah, here's your descending or ascending triangle, right? You coil here's your channel right here. You're coiling up. A lot of people thought this was going to break down, and I was suggesting that could potentially happen, and I'll talk about that. But instead, we coiled up. We broke above the ascending channel. Then we came down and we started forming a triangle. So now we broke out. So what happens next? You guessed it, a B, C backtest. And that's what I think could potentially be happening soon. But before I talk about that, I just want to go back and discuss what were some of the ideas in our previous video here. One of the big ideas, and it's still on the table, is coming down to backtest this range. So, for example, we pumped up, right? We were oscillating in this range for like 6 months, right? Boom, 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 right? Wyckoff accumulation. We broke out, and now what comes next? I said potentially when we were in here, we can come down A, B, C, and we can backtest the top of the resistance, right? Because when you break out, you want to come down and backtest it to make it the new support. See, this was all resistance in here. We broke the resistance. Now you want to come down and back test it to make it the new support, right? Previous resistance is now new support. So breaking out is easy. Coming back down to back test to confirm the breakout, right? Because this breakout right here, this big breakout is not confirmed, right? And basically meaning it can just go like this and then just collapse, right? So that's what I mean. But in order for it to be confirmed, meaning that we have continuation, we need this to come down. Not now. It doesn't have to now. It can take another 6 months, right? But eventually, it will come down and backtest this area, and then from there, if we break down, that's now it's the party's over, right? If we start trending higher, then we're just beginning. So the big point I'm trying to discuss here is this 31K area. 30K, 31K, right? We have to hold above 30K in order for this to continue higher, right? So that was one thing I talked about. And another thing is right here. If I go down to the 12-hour, basically was saying if we broke above this, and it already occurred, by the way, we ran up to the resistance, we broke out, we came down, we back tested, right? And now here's our new resistance. We broke this resistance. Now what comes next? Probably we'll come back down and back test this resistance, make it the new support, and then hopefully have another high. And at that point, I would think that this leg here would be the final push before a big correction. Because look at this. We have been trending higher from here, from the beginning of the year, trending higher and higher and higher and higher. Eventually, the trend has to reverse in order for it to continue higher or continue lower. But, it could happen much further down the road, right? So, basically, if I had to guess, I would say we're coming back down to 31K eventually. Doesn't mean now. Now, the way that would change is if we get above the 702. If we get above the 702 Fibonacci, then I will be gladly change my mind, right? So, and the 702 comes in at about 52K. So if we get above 52, 57K, chances of backtesting 31K dramatically basically goes to zero, because that would suggest at that point we would go to a new all-time high. And by the way, none of this is financial advice. This is all my opinion. I could be totally dead wrong on everything. So just offering opinions based on what I see. And I'm giving you 5.5 years experience looking at charts. So, not a master at any means, just a regular guy. Just, looking at it objectively as I can. But also remaining level-headed and optimistic for the future, which is very bright, by the way, if you ask me. So basically right now we're at that 50%, which is the 42K area right here. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get above that. If we can get above that, then the next one would be at 48K. And I think we have a really good chance at getting to 47K. So if we zoom in here back to let's go to the 4-hour chart. I think one of the things I was saying here was this is an ascending triangle, right? Pull that, stretch it out further. Price has a it's hard to count it because you have these 1, 2, 1, 2, and it makes it difficult to count the waves, right? But to me, this looks like a wave 3, probably get a wave 4, then a wave 5, and then potentially come down and ABC and backtest this area. If we come down here, then at that point, right, I would be looking for another 5 waves to finish this whole thing. And that would be the end of the retracement. So 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe we get up here 5. And then at that point, I think it's done. Now this is the bearish idea, right? We'll talk about the bullish idea in a minute. But yeah, basically, that's kind of hard to see. Yeah, basically we'll get up here. Let me just draw it so it makes it easy. Okay, there we go. So basically that's sort of what I would expect if we're playing the bearish idea, right? Now, the caveat to that is we don't necessarily have to come down and backtest. We could just rampage up to 40, 50K now, right? We could just do it now. So it would just be basically be, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5. And we could just come up here and it'll be done. So, but yeah, that's sort of how it would look, in my opinion, and that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have A, B, C, and then you have 1, 2. We're in the third now, I would suspect, or that this triangle right here could be 3, 4, 5. So basically taking all that off would just be a big fat A, B, C. So that would be the bearish count. And that, my friends, would come down, and I think that's very possible. I think this count is more likely. And the reason is because we need to come down and backtest this 14K area down in here, right? So we had a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation. We broke out, right? We break out A, B, C, but that never happened. So you can look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now we're in A, B, C. We back test this previous resistance right here, make it the new support, and then continue higher, right? So that's sort of my grand thesis idea. Now, could I be wrong? Most definitely, right? And the way you would know is if we can break above that 702, 786, right? But I don't like the way this is moving up. It looks very corrective. It looks choppy. It doesn't look decisive, right? Like this right in here. This was more decisive. So basically, we just have to wait and see. But when we get up here into these retracement levels, I'm really expecting the altcoins to do a lot better than they are currently doing now. So I really want to see us get above 44K, 47K. If we can get to 47K and hold there for a couple of weeks and consolidate, it really gives the chance for the altcoins, because people go, why aren't the altcoins moving? You know, they're not moving. Bitcoin's flying, but altcoins are not. The reason why is because Bitcoin moves first, right? So taking everything off the screen right here, for example, right? Bitcoin moved all the way higher from here to here. And then it went sideways, right? So when Bitcoin is boring, that's when the altcoins pump, right? When Bitcoin is pumping, that's usually when the altcoins are boring. So what I'm saying here is we need to wait for Bitcoin to find some resistance. That would actually be bullish for altcoins, believe it or not. So if we come up here, maybe come a little higher, and then we start to consolidate a little bit, right? We come up here and we consolidate in a range. This would give the altcoins a beautiful opportunity to pump to the upside, because then people rotate their coins, right? They rotate into different coins, right? So people will make money on Bitcoin, then they'll rotate it into others. So yeah, so we'll see. So basically, yeah, that's about it for Bitcoin, except the bullish count, which we haven't talked about. So the bullish idea, well, first of all, let me show you this, and then I'll show you why I don't really like the bullish idea. But I hope it's right. I hope we do have the bullish idea, because it would be better for everybody. So how many waves you see there? To me, this is wave 1. This is wave 2. This is wave 3. This is wave 4. This is wave 5. And now we're done. We're done. That's it. Now we have an A. We're in B. And now we need C. Right? And then we can start another 5 waves to the upside. Right? So that's sort of how I'm looking at it. Right? So this would be wave 1, wave 2. We come up for wave 3. We pull down for wave 4. And now we hit wave 5. And now we go A, B, C. We back test the previous degree. We back test wave 4, right? Up in here. We'll actually back test wave 1 of 5. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll back test wave 1 of 5, A, B, C, and then we'll continue higher. And this is what most people were calling for, right? Most people were saying we're going down to 10K, 9K. But what the problem was, they didn't expect the price to retrace first, right? They thought it's just going to do this and backtest 10K, 14K area and then go for a new run. And I was saying, no way. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We need this. We have the down move. Now we need the retracement in order to get another down move. So it's an A, B, C. The market moves in 5s and 3s. 5s and 3s. 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, right? So it's 5s and 3s. It's usually how it goes. So basically, this thing looks done to me, right? You know, people have these parabolic curves they put in here, right? And if we do get this ABC, then we would break this curve, right? So maybe we don't break the curve and we get something like this. So I'm going to give you 2 bullish ideas. So bullish idea number 1 would suggest this is a rise, right? We had a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We pull back, right? We come up here, maybe a little higher, 40, 50K area. Then we pull back like this. And then we go sideways for a bit. And then we continue higher and we break out. That would be the best case scenario in my opinion. That right there would be beautiful, because what this would suggest here is, like going back to what I always talk about XRP, we have a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Same thing here. We have a rise, we have a crash, we have a retrace, we have reaccumulation, blast off. See what I'm saying? That, my friends, is what we want to see. We want to see reaccumulation, right? Because if you look at this, this was the retracement. So basically, Bitcoin is like it's right here. That's where Bitcoin is, the equivalent of it being here, right? So let's actually do some work on that. Let's see. So if I take a Fibonacci retracement, and this is why I like technical analysis. It's fun. It's like you're Sherlock Holmes and you're trying to figure out the puzzle pieces. So you pull it down here, and where did it go to? Where did it go to? It went all the way up to the 618 right here at 13.4K right here. It actually tagged a little bit above it. So so that's a classic thing. A 618 retrace. Okay, so remember that. 618 retrace. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pull this here. And then I'm going to pull it down there. Okay, so where is the 618 retrace? If in fact that could be one of our guidelines, right? So wouldn't you know it, it comes in exactly, wow. It comes in exactly where I said it, where I was looking for, right? So right at 47, 48K. Pinpoint nailed this area right here. And what did I say? I talked about earlier in the video, I said the market makers like to come up and they like to break the liquidity and then bring it down. And that would be like that wick we just saw, right? So there you go. That's what I'm kind of looking for. So that would be just a repeat of this. So for example, let me show you again. We have a rise. We have a rise. We have a crash. We have a crash. We have a retrace. We have a retrace. We're not there yet. This was a 618 retrace, right? Now we're going to go up 618 retrace. So let's get up into here, right? And then what happens? Well, let me put a bars pattern so we can kind of, get a little funky with it here. We'll pull that right there, and then I'll just put that right there. So there you go. That is sort of what I'm looking for if we're going to be bullish, right? If we're going to ignore the ABC, right, and we're going to say we're bullish, then we still need a dump. We still need, a pullback. So there you go. That would be same thing, right? Rise, crash, right here. Rise, crash. Then you have a retracement. Then you have a retracement. Then you come down for reaccumulation. You come down for reaccumulation. And then you sort of go sideways, and then you break out to new all-time highs. So there you go. That's the bullish idea, the one that I would prefer to happen, because then it would sort of give the altcoins a chance to gear up during this time, right? So if I put the bull market support band, and you see that yellow band here, and that's sort of where we are. So if the price, the band starts coming up, the price breaks below the band, right? We break below it, but then we come back up. So here's the band here, and then we break back above it, and then we continue higher. So that's kind of messy, but let me take everything off. So that's sort of the idea here. So another bullish count would be this. This is an A, B, C, and now we're just in the process of rampaging to the upside, which would be what? Well, we're in the middle of the third wave, which is incredibly bullish. So that would be wave 1. This is wave 2. And now we're in wave 3, 4, 5. So something like that. And then maybe the third can break out. Something like this. where we hit 100K. And that, my friends, would be the end. So then how would you count that? I would count it like, basically you would say this is 1, this is 2, and then all of this is 3, right? I mean, you can have 3 here, and then you could say this is 4, and then all of this would be 5. So it's just a different way of looking at it. It's, it really depends. But those are the 3 options. So once again, Bitcoin summary thoughts. So number 1, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. And then continue. Right? Before maybe dumping. But we have a good chance of at 100K. So that's option number 1. Bullish option number 1. Bullish option number 2 suggests that this is a rise, a crash, a retrace. We're going to retrace a little higher, and then we pull back down like in this bull flag, just sort of like this. We come up here, we come down like this, and then we go higher. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. And if we do that sideways action, I would look for the sideways base to be in here. So if I just take this and I extend it out all the way out here, it'll make things much more clear when I do it now. So again, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then go. So that's bullish option number 2. Okay, now we move to the bearish option. Bearish option would be very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is A. Now we're in B. And then we get down to C, back testing this 14K area. Between 10 and 14K. A, B, C. And then we go. So those are the 3 options. Not financial advice, but I'm pretty confident. I'm like 90% sure one of those will be hit. Which one? I have no idea. Because we are not through the retracements yet. So your guess is as good as mine. It all comes down to the retracement, right? We can retrace up to the 702, then pull back, and then at that point, is it going to go into a C wave and backtest 14K, or is it just going to go into reaccumulation, go sideways, and then break out? So that is the issue that I have, right? Because, for example, if we just go like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it makes it easy. But if we come up here and we start going down, the question becomes are we going down for reaccumulation and then go? Or are we going down for a C wave and then go? Right? So that's the issue there. So basically that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Zooming in just real quick here. We are finding some resistance at 41K as expected, right? And that was my target. Right here, I'll show you how I got that target. This was the breakout, so I took this wave and I went up to this. So from here down to here, and then I pull it all the way down there. And basically, where was it at? It was at the 1886. So there you go. And let me see if I have a screenshot of that. So there you go, right here. Check this out. December 2nd, so 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I posted this, my 886 target, 40.4K. So basically, I was targeting this right here. And so, yeah. works out. That's why I like when things work out, right? So if I pause the video, I show you the chart, and there you go. There's the 886 target right there. So yeah, there was the let me just put it on here real quick. There was the ascending triangle, right? Ascending triangle here. And then there was the 886 target. So there you go. There was the before, right? We hit the 1.272. So this was before, and that's after. Now, that doesn't mean anything, right? That doesn't mean anything. It just means that we hit the target, but the question is, are we done? Are we finished? Well, you could see right here, check this out. We are getting bearish divergence. So you see how the price is going higher and the RSI is going lower. So you can see the RSI is trending down, price is trending higher. That's bearish divergence. So we'll see if that gets taken out eventually, but basically you know, what we can expect potentially is we come back down, right? Price comes back down, and then it comes back up again, and then it makes another high, right? Then you would have triple divergence. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So let me actually stretch that out here. So maybe we pull back, and then we make another high, and then we set another lower high for the RSI. So yeah, that could be potentially a way to look at it. But if you go to, like, you know, the 3-day chart, we're still in overbought territory. Nothing, no signal yet. You know, we're still, you know, very strong at the moment. I mean, you can see there's nothing going on down here, right? It's just chilling at the top. Furthermore, if I go to the weekly chart, we're still whoops, right there. Yeah, we're still good. I mean, we're still you know, we're in overbought territory, but we still got room to go. So a lot of times people, when we get up here, they'll sell it. But what happens is we could just go sideways for a bit and then go down. You know, just because we get overbought doesn't mean we're going to straight go down. Usually we have some divergences that play out. But let's take a look at the monthly chart before we go here. Wow, look at that. Now, the monthly chart just looks bullish to me. I mean, looks pretty nice. We have bullish engulfing candle, breakout, and then 2 follow-through candles. So the big test would be, again, can we get through this block, this block right in here? If we can get through that block, it's on. But until now, we have to respect it as a retracement. And it looks like a retracement when you go to the monthly chart. So basically this is 1, 2, 3. It's a 3-wave move. 3-wave moves are bearish. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We had 5 waves to the downside, and now we have A, B, C to the upside, which tells me we're going to have another 5-wave moves to the downside. But if we can get through these retracements, then no, we're going. And then the caveat to that would be, if we do start coming down into reaccumulation, maybe we don't get this 5-wave move. Maybe we just come down like this and then go sideways. So it would be a crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then go. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much it for Bitcoin. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll probably make another video maybe today or tomorrow on some altcoins. Because if you just look at just peeking at Theta real quick, I mean, Theta, look at the difference between Bitcoin. Let me take everything off the screen. Look at the difference between Bitcoin, right? Look how high. So here was Bitcoin. Look how high it retraced. So here's the wave. This is your measuring stick right here. So this is the wave, and this is the retracement. Look how high the retracement went. It went way the heck up here, all the way up here. So basically right in here. Okay, so go back to Theta. Now look at how beautiful it is. Look at this. This is your wave. This is your measuring stick all the way down here. We're barely, tiny, like a little ant. Okay, so this is why I'm in the altcoins, not in Bitcoin. Look how much room it has to go. It can go all the way up to about $6-7. So we have this big long down move. We have this big retracement to the upside right here. So that's what I'm looking for. If Bitcoin hits that retracement, so for example, if Bitcoin wants to push up a little higher to hit that 47K and then go sideways for a couple of weeks, then when it goes sideways, then that's when the altcoins can start pumping, because altcoins have a hard time pumping when Bitcoin is pumping. Bitcoin usually needs to do this. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it sort of chills out for a little bit. As it's chilling out, that's when we pump in the altcoins. So people say, why aren't the altcoins pumping? Why isn't it only Bitcoin pumping? It's because Bitcoin needs to pump first, and then once it pumps, it goes sideways, and then people recycle or cycle out of Bitcoin into altcoins. So yeah, for Theta, I'm looking for this big monster move right here. And I'll probably upload that in the next video for Theta. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you on the next one. And remember, if there's any coins you want me to take a look at, drop them in the comment section. Leaving a comment, even if you just type a letter, it helps the algorithm for a very small channel like mine to help reach new audiences. I hope I do a decent job giving a different perspective. My thing is always the beginner, right? It's all about people who are starting out and beginners. They're looking for answers, and I want to describe the answers, right? Usually my videos are long, 40, 50 minutes, sometimes over an hour long, but that's what it takes, right? When you go to college or high school or whatever, right? When you go to school, do you just sit there for 10 minutes? No, right? How can you learn anything in 10 minutes, right? If you just want the answers, that's not what this channel is about. I'm not here to give any signals. I'm not here to give any answers. I'm here to basically teach. I'm trying to teach people how the thought process works, right? So I basically take you inside my mind and go through the process of how I'm analyzing a chart so that you can use that to your benefit, and hopefully, you do the same, right? And that's how I did it with other people. There are videos out there where they just give you the answer as a 10-minute update. This is what I'm looking at. It doesn't really help, right? But when I look at a video that takes you through the process and that's educational, it's actually better than just watching a quick 5-10 minute video for an update, right? Because you can't really learn much in 5 to 10 minutes. You gotta think of it like you're going to a college class. A college class is at least an hour long, right? Right. So yeah, basically that's kind of my justification for having longer videos is basically just to take you through the steps and overall the journey on how I got to where I got. And like I said, I offer ideas. So for example, for Bitcoin, I had 2 bullish ideas, one bearish idea. So I'm taking you how I get to those ideas. So basically that's it. I will probably, like I said, post another video soon. I think it's time for another theta video. What do you guys think? And yeah, so not financial advice. I will catch you on the next one.